This is Elizabeth Olsen, and this is a taser. And this is what happens when you combine the two.
I've done the whole mind control thing.
Not a fan.
Why did that happen? In the first Avengers, Hawkeye was mind controlled by Loki and the Scepter. And for about 80% of the movie, he had no personality and he was just there. In Avengers Age of Ultron, when Scarlet Witch got into everybody's heads, him being the awesome spy he is, turned around and tased her in the forehead. We're gonna try and make that. So I guess this is a taser arrow or something. This taser has a tiny screw at the bottom, so we're gonna try and take this apart. Now, I've had my fair share with tasers, so this shouldn't be too hard. Ignore all the random stuff on my counter. I do a lot of work. Well, I'm just gonna keep that magnetized. Maybe I pry it open? I don't wanna break it. I'm taking it apart anyway. I'm just gonna strip this stuff, I guess. There we go. What I'm hoping is the internals are actually just pretty small and it's a big battery. It's a new day and I left off trying to break the casing. I couldn't get the internals out. I resorted in basically peeling the metal casing off. If we look at the movie, it's curved to her forehead. After I get all the internals out, I think the next step is to design a casing that resembles the one from the movie. We finally got it out of the casing and it still works. Now we gotta get it out of this plastic casing. One of the biggest challenges that I've encountered while making trick arrows is the weight of the tip. If we break down the arrow, you have the tip, you have an insert, you have the shaft, you have the nock, and you have the fletchings. All of that adds weight to the arrow. It's very minuscule though, like grams. This is a 100 grain arrow, this is a 500 spine arrow, so it has a lot of bend and a lot of flex to it. We add a higher weight, so we're gonna have to increase the spine. Most of my trick arrows I shoot off of a 340 spine, maybe even a 300. If we look at the movie, he never shoots the taser arrow, so we technically don't have to worry about the weight. This cylindrical piece, I want it to sit on top of this arrow. And all of the electronics and battery, I want to put it in a casing that kind of stays on the side of the arrow. To give you a close-up, I want the whole battery on the very tip and the electronics on the side of the shaft. To see if it even works, I'm gonna roughly tape it in place. Let's see if this still works. We're gonna turn it on, lights come on, still works. I figured out my first rough draft. I make a casing the exact size of the battery and then have another cylinder with a negative space that's the exact size of the diameter of the arrow shaft. This is my audio recorder arrow that just fits on the arrow shaft, and it's essentially gonna be the same thing, except the casing is gonna be on the very tip, and it's gonna be symmetrical. Let me draw it out for you. So we first need the exact size of this as a negative. Pinch it on, so it's about 14.1 millimeters, 14.2 millimeters. I'm gonna say 14.5. We have this cylinder with a negative in the middle, right? And this negative is gonna be 14.5. The length of it, 40.7 for the length, 40.7. We could make that just round up to about 41. And on the bottom, it's gonna have another cylinder, and the inner diameter is the size 8. The issue whenever you look at arrow inserts is they're not always flush with the shaft of the arrow. It flares out. This is only the first step. The reason that's the first step is because we have the casing for the battery or the taser part, but not the internals. The internals are gonna be a whole separate thing. Y'all can't make fun of me because I haven't gotten good at Blender. I do everything in my splicer itself because all the things that I make are basic geometric shapes. I'm gonna do this upside down. We're doing a cylinder. Basic cylinder, 42, right? Because the negative is the exact numbers that we need.
If you've made it this far, congratulations. I wanted to apologize if my music is too soft or the audio is too loud. This is my first time actually editing a full YouTube video. Anyways, back to the real thing.
That's that one. We're gonna put this in and I will be back tomorrow. This is the first main part completed. If it all works, this should Slide right in, just like that. Now this tube that we created should have a lot of tension, which we want. Boom. What I can try and do is make the same kind of enclosure that I did with this main battery in a rectangular form to fit this electronic in. The issue are the elevated points where the button is and the switch. The way that this arrow works is I have an enclosure with a tube kind of thing that slides onto the arrow. So why not extend this piece all the way down to the length of this and have a rectangular negative on the side that's connected? So everything just kind of slides into place. I'll figure something out, I'll print it, and then I'll show you guys afterwards. I've done some work off camera, and just to recap, I've made the casing for the battery. I printed out a piece for the electronics, which just slide in, and it comes out the other end. So with these two pieces, they just slide onto the arrow shaft. We can technically leave it at that, but I don't want to. In the movie, when Hawkeye sticks it on Scarlet Witch's forehead, it extends out these prongs that shape her forehead. I wanted to kind of make a variation of this. I ended up printing out this fire hydrant looking piece, which is a tube that slides over the battery casing that I printed. And the prong-like things are gonna be made with these decorative hasps. It's gonna sit on this piece, extend out, and there's gonna be a spring that holds it in place. And the spring sits in these little circular things. This wire was gonna be an issue. I was just gonna leave it, but I misprinted this. I made it like 1.5 millimeters too large, which is perfectly enough space to fit the wires in. I slide the electronic components casing on first, then I slide the battery on, and it should just sit like this. This piece that looks like a fire hydrant slides on over the battery casing. This is what it looks like. JB Weld time. I've never used this before, so we're gonna figure it out. Isn't the other side supposed to be coming out too? I don't think the one-to-one mixed. In good old Crispo fashion, I knew that I would mess up. It didn't really work out. The springs were messing it up. The hinges were messing it up. So I'm gonna go back to my first idea and just have this metal plate. I'm gonna bend it into the shape of a forehead and then drill holes for the prongs to come out of. Shouldn't be too difficult.
This is the face of a man who underestimated how hard it would be to bend a bar.
I got it curved. Did that take a long time? No.
Yes.
Now to drill 2 tiny holes in it. Will I break my bit?
Yes.
A part of me feels like this bit was longer. When using a drill, make sure it's on the right orientation. I feel a little silly now. I should just be able to slide these 2 prongs. Boom. Booyah, baby. Let's take a quick look at this. You still have a rechargeable battery with the Type-C charging port connected to the on-off switch. The button is right there. It goes up. The battery is encased in this big thing. The prongs are actually, you could see the ends of the prongs on the outside of this tape, which hits this, creating an open circuit. And whenever I touch something, it then closes the circuit. So let's turn this on. It's a little uneven, but you know, for a first prototype, this is sick. This here is the casing for the electronics. We're gonna slide it in. And then when we do that, we can attach the tip. Slide that in. There you have it. Right now I'm securing everything down as it is like a prototype. And we could honestly find out what to put in here. This is so sick. And the curve, I did match it to my forehead, so. There you guys have it. That's my first prototype of the Taser arrow that Hawkeye uses against Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know when I post. Also follow me on my socials. I post daily on there. Comment down below what you want to see me try and make next. I wouldn't say this is a complete failure, but I got a lot to work on.